What's up, guys? I'm back with another video, and today, not a very exciting one today. The USFL is apparently getting sued. Good God. I have to give a shout out to Microphone. He's a YouTuber. He actually opened this up and explained that there's going to be a lawsuit apparently against the USFL. Basically the old USFL suing the new USFL. I'll get into that later, but basically Microphone opened up this video and he talked about it. He made a video, I'll link it down below, but basically he made a video talking about the USFL getting sued, which actually I had no clue about it until I watched his video, so shout out to him. I figured I would make a video about it too because I already made a USFL video before. I don't know if you guys seen it, I'll link it down below also. I was basically reviewing the new USFL jerseys that were released a little bit ago. And that was only like a couple weeks ago, literally, and now we're already into a lawsuit apparently. And we'll get into that all in today's video, but it's a little bit sad. Basically, the old USFL is claiming that it's copyright against the new USFL. The new USFL, if you don't already know, it's owned by the TV station Fox. And they're the ones that are going to be airing it. So it doesn't have like a single-handed like owner, like a founder. But basically, apparently, there's owners from the old USFL that are suing them for apparently allegedly copyright. I'm not saying what's right, what's not right. I'm basically going to be reading an article about it that I've seen on the internet here. It's from CBS NFL, so I could only assume, wouldn't it be a reliable source? But I'm just saying these are not my words. This is from CBS NFL. But basically, the USFL is getting sued by the old USFL. The old owners are basically saying that the new USFL just started up without their permission and is basically using all the logos and purposely confusing their brand. They're basically purposely taking their old USFL and rebooting it and basically making it like nostalgic, basically. Like they're purposely confusing the two leagues, which I'm not too sure all about like copyright laws and everything into that. But basically that's what they're claiming is happening. And I don't know what necessarily how this is going to affect the new USFL, but basically what this says, originally USFL ex-owners filed a lawsuit aimed at new USFL potentially halting start of spring football league. So this definitely isn't going to help our chances of getting spring football. I'm just going to say the truth here. It's not going to help our chances whatsoever. It's actually probably hurting our chances, but I'm not too sure. The USFL has not, I've seen, they have not released anything yet talking about the lawsuit. They have not said anything like they're halting it, and they're still going along like things are normal here. So are they going to be continuing? I don't know. Are they going to be making new jerseys? I don't know. Like, what's going to be happening with this? I'm not too sure. And I can tell you this. I swear I've heard a law before where with copyright, if the thing that's copyrighted is abandoned for so long, then it's pretty much not copyright anymore and it's free use. So I'm not too sure, since this was back in the 80s, 1983 to 1985, I'm not too sure if this has been abandoned pretty much, and I don't know under law if it's usable now by Fox. I'm not too sure. If things get bad, I'm not too sure what they're gonna do. It's either it's gonna halt the beginning of the season, it's gonna just completely stop it, or maybe if it goes through, maybe new logos, maybe complete new rebranding. But basically, like I said, they're allegedly claiming that they are just taking their old league and completely making a remake of the league using the same old logos and everything. That would be like me making up, that'd be like McDonald's shutting down basically right now, and then 30-40 years from now me starting up another McDonald's with every single thing on the menu. That would basically be what it would be like. So basically I'm going to read from this and we're just going to see what's all in this article. It says it's a 2-minute read. I don't really read articles, guys, but I'm reading it for today's video. I think this is a pretty important topic for the USFL. I mean, definitely, we just had the draft go around. Everything's going so smooth. We can just never have spring football without something going wrong. Something always has to go wrong. Something has to shut it down. I know with everything going on in the world, the XFL had to get shut down. So it's disappointing, but hopefully this doesn't shut down. Like I said, nothing's been said yet. So let's get into reading this. Starting off, original USFL ex-owners file lawsuit aimed at new USFL, potentially halting the start of Spring Football League, potentially. So we're not too sure yet if it is actually halting it. The new USFL is set to debut mid-April, but no plans to revitalize spring football may be on hold. Several former team owners and executives from the old USFL are suing Fox over the new leagues using the same name and moniker of the original United States Football League that existed from 1983 to 1986. Basically how the USFL ended, if you don't know. They basically went from 1983 to 1985, and they basically, all the owners of the teams voted on moving it to fall. So they're going to have fall football, just like the NFL. They want to compete with the NFL, which is a horrible idea. You don't want to just compete with the NFL. I mean, back then, I think this is more based on being a developmental league, and this is what a lot of people are saying. I definitely agree with it. I think it's meant to be a league to where players can go there and maybe potentially get a bigger contract in the NFL. That's basically what people are thinking that this is supposed to technically be. So talented college players can go into the USFL and maybe, express their talents there and then possibly get into the NFL and get a bigger contract. That's what people are pretty much thinking. Like back in the day when they had it, 1983 to 1986, they were pretty much like getting big players. I know they had Jim Kelly on there, which was a big player. Never won a Super Bowl, but he went to 4 Super Bowls in a row. Lost them all. It's sad. But anyways, there's Jim Kelly. They had Steve Young. I know they've had some other big names, guys. But basically what's now going to be based off is kind of like a developmental league. Like, they're not going to be taking big name players. Like, you won't see a Joe Burrow, a Patrick Mahomes, or a Josh Allen playing here. They might look as talented, and if they do get that talented in there, they might end up potentially getting a contract to the NFL. There was a player in the XFL that actually did the same thing. He was extremely talented in the XFL, and he actually got into the NFL. He got a contract with the Carolina Panthers. He was hands down the best player in the NFL. So let's continue. He was the best player in the XFL. Correction. So let's continue. Fox argues the original USFL abandoned its trademarks after defunct for nearly 30 years. See, this is what I was talking about. So basically what they're saying is they've abandoned the trademarks. So technically what Fox is saying is it is free use. And of course they're going to obviously battle their side and try to make it seem like they're right. And I'm not taking a side. I'm just simply saying that of course they're going to battle their side. This plaintiffs in the lawsuit determined the false narrative that 8 teams in the league named their derived from the original USFL. The former owners argue permission was needed, and a complaint was filed Monday in California federal court seeking to prevent Fox from using the original name, as well as names and logos of any original USFL teams. So basically, from the sounds of that, if this goes through, I don't know if the USFL is going to have the season this year. It's either that or they're going to have to, boom, last minute just rebrand absolutely everything. That's a little bit scary. So if that does go through, that can happen. But Fox is trying to say that, no, you abandon your trademarks for 30 years now. It's free use, dude. But the old owners are trying to say no. Fox could have easily started its own leagues with new teams. That's the point that everyone's trying to make. They could have just started up their own league, just like exactly what the XFL did. And they actually got really good response. The only reason they got shut down back in 2020 was because of the pandemic and everything. That's why they got shut down. So it wasn't for oh, it needs to mock another league. It's not. So basically what they could have done, Fox could have just basically started up their own league with whole new branding. Like instead of the Pittsburgh Maulers, it could have been the Pittsburgh Hammers or something, and it still would have gotten basically the same attention is what people are trying to say here. Fox could easily start its own league with new teams, but instead chose to take the goodwill and nostalgia of the original league, without permission of the people who actually created it. Attorney Alex Brown said via Pro Football Talk, Fox can't dispute that the real USFL marks are recognizable and valued because they're using them and purposely confusing its league with the original. Okay, I will say they can't dispute that they're not using the same logos because they are using the exact same branding. I think they changed like the jerseys a little bit. I know the USFL Maulers, I think they used to be like all purple on top. I could be wrong. But they came out with all new jerseys, obviously, but they're still with the logos. They're still using the exact same logos. Rather than doing the right thing, Fox has chosen to try to bully the prior owners into submission. That's not going to happen. That's in quotes, so I'm assuming that's what Alex Brown says. The original USFL debuted in 1983 and lasted 3 seasons. The league launched a career of Herschel Walker, Reggie White, and many others due to competitive salaries that trumped the NFL players were making at the time. No hard salary cap led to unsustainable payrolls that contributed to the league's destruction. The league started with 12 teams at a territorial draft and load up rosters with familiar local colleague starters from attract fans. So basically what they're trying to say there is they were kind of like competing with the NFL in a way because they were actually getting like big players like Herschel Walker, Reggie White. I'm amazed they didn't mention Jim Kelly. Steve Young, very, very, very good, talented quarterback in the NFL. He played for the San Francisco 49ers, I believe, back in the 80s and the 90s. He won a Super Bowl, just one Super Bowl, but still a very talented quarterback. So they had some pretty big players. So in a way, they were almost competing with the NFL. If they would have never, there's a chance that they could have survived, that they would have never tried to move it into the fall time to compete with the NFL. Because to me, why don't you keep it in the spring? People want all year round football. Personally, as a fan, I'm telling you, I want all year round football. And basically, to me, I don't understand why they did that at the time. I'm not too sure. But now we're going to get into the whole entire lawsuit thing. I'm just going to warn you, they only got $1 out of the lawsuit, which under some law, it tripled to $3. So it wasn't too much of a return for suing the NFL. Eventually shutting down in 1986, the USFL voted to move from a spring to fall schedule to eventually compete with the NFL. In an attempt to force a merger between the leagues, the USFL won an antitrust lawsuit against the league, as did the NFL violated anti-monopoly laws. But the USFL just won $1 and shut down in the ensuing months. So to me, the USFL, I guess they were trying to, like what they said, force a merger between the two leagues, which doesn't make any sense. At the time, why would the USFL have merged? Like, why would the NFL wanted to do that? It would have made like a super league, but to me, like I said, people want an all year round league. So sit there, have it in spring and grow out your league. And I'm not some sort of business owner. I'm just personally saying my opinion on it. Like, why wouldn't you try to grow out your league, you know, in the springtime? Because personally, as a fan, I like spring football, and I hope it stays around. And this is hurting the USFL. I hope it stays around. I hope the USFL stays around. I hope they can sell this lawsuit, and I hope it stays as the USFL, and I hope the Pittsburgh Maulers stay around. I hope all these teams stay around. I don't want this to obviously affect the league as a fan personally. And I'm not saying what Fox is doing, it's right. I'm not saying one side's right or one's not right. I'm just personally saying I really hope that it can stay around. I really like the USFL Maulers, and it really just sucks because what about all those people that just pre-ordered merch? Because the USFL, after the uniform drops, they actually released merch in their store. And basically what you could have done is like pre-ordered it. Some of the stuff was like, I think it was like over 50, I think it was 70, yeah, I'll put it somewhere on the screen, something $70, $80 for a jersey, something like that. It was a while ago I looked at that. And I think you could have pre-ordered it and it would have been shipped to you. So I don't know how that's going to work if they have to do like rebranding, because technically, how would Fox be able to still be selling stuff if they do get sued somehow? Unless somehow they're able to like buy the league from the original owners, if this is like going through somehow, I'm not too sure. The new version of the USFL is using the same names as the original versions in the 1980s, which is true. The league chose 8 franchises that were also in the original USFL that allegedly retained rights to the key original team names. The league updated the logos from the original teams last month, which included new uniforms that were supposed to make their debut come April. Unless this lawsuit is settled in the coming weeks, the new USFL will have to pivot fast. That is true. Alright guys, well that was the lawsuit. That was everything that's going on. This is a little update video for the lawsuit, basically just explaining what's going on and everything. And it's a little bit disappointing. I hope the USFL can stay around. I hope somehow this works out. And if Fox is doing something wrong, I'm not a lawyer, but if Fox is doing something wrong, then I hope that the old owners do get their justice. But at the same time, I hope that we still do get some sort of spring football. I really hope if somehow a rebranding of some sorts has to go through, then I'm really going to hope they keep the Pittsburgh team. Because I was really hyped for the Pittsburgh Maulers. I was planning on watching. I was planning on doing like a podcasting type thing talking about it. Obviously, I still have plans to do that. If they're doing the season, I'm still going to do it. But I was going to talk about the draft. I know they did do their draft a little bit ago. But I've recently been pretty busy to talk about the draft. So maybe I'll do a video going through the draft and all that. But I figured this video was like very important to get out there. This is all the information that I currently know. The USFL has not like said anything from what I've seen about anything like saying that, oh no, we're going to halt the season. So far it's still going through. But not sure if the lawsuit's going to go through or not. We'll have to see how it all pans out. From a fan standpoint, this really sucks because it's like crap. It's like this is like potential for us to lose spring football once again. Like it's every single season we somehow manage to lose spring football. I really hope nothing happens to that. But I mean, I don't know if there's a way if somehow Fox, if they are doing this wrong, I wonder if there's a way that the old USFL owners could possibly sell it to Fox. I'm not too sure. Maybe they would try. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not going to say anything I don't know. So this is basically just me reading off an article, guys. From what I said, this is just my opinion. Don't take my word for anything, obviously. I'm not some sort of lawyer. This was from CBS NFL. I'll actually link the article down below, too. Like I said, the only reason I actually found out about this whole thing from Microphone, so thank you to him. I figured I'd also do a video on it because you know what? I've been doing USFL videos, and my last USFL video got good response. Like, you guys really seem to like me reviewing the jerseys. I expected to get a pretty decent amount of views for my channel, and I was pretty happy about that, so thank you to everyone that watched that video. I was very excited to get that out there and see all the new USFL uniforms. I'm still looking forward towards a USFL season of some sorts. If not, maybe 2023 we see the XFL. There's been talks about the XFL with The Rock. Dwayne Johnson owns the XFL. Vince McMahon used to own it, but now The Rock does. So I know they're going to be doing stuff. They've partnered with the NFL, which is super big. I think that's going to be like a developmental league, just like the USFL. I think a lot of them aren't even trying to like rival the NFL. Like back in the 80s with the USFL, they were rivaling the NFL. But a lot of these like spring leagues, I feel like are just trying to be developmental to the NFL. Basically meaning like they can just develop players, and then those players could possibly get an opportunity to get a bigger contract in the NFL. I like the idea. I still think it's going to be very entertaining. A lot of these coaches are like offensive based, so there's going to be probably high scoring games. I mean, that's at least what they're trying to advertise it as. Like a lot of these coaches, Todd Haley for once, I know him. He was a coach for the Steelers at one point. So he's an offensive mind. So there's a lot of them that are offensive minds from what I've heard. That's what they're trying to advertise. They're trying to advertise like high scoring games. So we'll have to see, guys. If I have another update on this, I'll let you know. Comment down below if you did like this video. And if you did like the video, also drop a like, please. Share this video. Get this information out there, because I don't know how many people really know about this. I haven't like heard too many people talking about this. But overall, guys, I hope you all enjoyed. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.